Hi, I'm Kraig Ward, founder and managing director of Bearhug Recruiting. We created this video for CEOs and their investors who often ask us, how is your process different from every other executive search firm out there? They're looking to get to a level of comfort, whether they're backing or leading a 20-person startup or a public company, both of which we've supported, and they want to know if we can run a highly specialized search, regardless of title, industry, or geography. The short answer is we can, and we do. Startups today are navigating a whirlwind. AI is reshaping everything, innovation is accelerating, capital is tight, teams are leaner, and the pressure to hire the right executive leaders has never been higher. In this video, I'll walk you through the 5 core ingredients of what we call our secret sauce, which is a 5-part recipe that we've engineered for early and growth stage teams that need to move fast, hire smart, and land exceptional talent to unlock $100 million revenue scale. Ingredient number 1 is our proprietary search blueprint and scorecard. There's a lot of talk about executive search being on the chopping block, next in line for full disruption or automation by AI, but here's what we believe. While parts of recruiting can and should be streamlined by technology, the nuance, customization, and the incredible level of unpredictability of connecting humans to other humans, especially at the executive level, will stay relevant longer than people expect. Because as long as humans are still sitting in the C-suite, the work of evaluating leadership fit will remain as much art as science. And most searches, well, they fall apart before they even begin because of misalignment, vague expectations, and unclear decision criteria. We don't let that happen. We engineer clarity from the start, and we don't move forward until the entire team is fully locked in and literally on the same page. Every search kicks off with a custom-built blueprint that maps out every nuance, the sourcing strategy, the recruiting approach, and most critically, how we'll position and pitch your executive role to the market in a way candidates will have never heard or seen before. This pitch isn't generic. It's designed to sift and sort automatically, so the most qualified, interested, and available leaders are fully pre-educated and magnetized to your opportunity. That blueprint work then feeds directly into a highly concentrated scorecard, which allows for a clear definition of what great looks like ahead of time, so there's no guesswork later. Everyone is aligned before we speak to a single candidate. And once we've done this work together on your first search, we can then reuse and adapt it to make every future search exponentially faster. The result? Faster decisions, a tighter, more structured interview process, and a team that stays aligned from kickoff to close. Ingredient number 2 is our comprehensive approach to market mapping. The top 10% of talent isn't actively looking for a job, and even if we'd spent the last decade running searches just like the one that you have, there'd still be an incredibly low probability the exact person that you need is already in our database and open to making a move at this particular point in time. Relying on that as your primary sourcing strategy, which is what most of the other search firms out there do, would be doing you a huge disservice. That's why we don't cut corners. Every search starts from scratch. No recycled slates, no spaghetti thrown at the wall hoping something sticks just to try and collect a fee with less effort. That's not what you're paying us for. Instead, we reverse engineer exactly who you need, starting with the industries they've worked in, and build a fresh, comprehensive market map of the roughly 500 to 1,000 highly relevant source companies, not the 15 to 20 most teams settle for, which is a big reason why so many executive searches fall short. These are the companies actively training and developing the kind of talent that you need, not just for this role, but likely for your next few executive hires as well. Then we dig in, researching and filtering both current and former employees by location, title, and tenure, typically reviewing between 5,000 to 10,000 profiles per search or more. That's in stark contrast to the much more superficial research most executives and internal teams have time to conduct when handling hiring themselves. What often surprises clients is the depth of our research, as we also track alumni who played pivotal roles during earlier growth stages at these target companies and have since moved on to unexpected and often even more relevant companies than we initially market mapped allowing us to bring forward a much wider range of profiles that would have otherwise been missed. Then, drawing on decades of pattern matching experience, our team collaborates to narrow that massive list down to the 50 to 100 highest potential candidates that we're willing to stake our reputation on. That is the short list that we're going to go out and personally pitch, court, and rigorously vet to bring you, the client, the best of the best. After pitching and vetting everybody on that list, we narrow it down to the top 5 to 10 candidates, which becomes your candidate slate. Then you get to choose who you're most excited to interview, and we handle the rest of the process from there. Each candidate shows up to their first interview pre-qualified, genuinely interested, and ready to make themselves available to plug into your opportunity, assuming there's strong chemistry and cultural alignment. This is what we mean by a comprehensive approach to market mapping, combining precision targeting with pre-selling across the full landscape of your specific ecosystem. It's not rocket science, but it does require significant time and rigor, which is something most busy executive teams and their boards simply just don't have the capacity to take on, and is the kind of work our competitors often skip, foolishly assuming they already know everybody that you might want to hire. Ingredient number 3 is our omnipresent pressure stack outreach strategy. Because reaching out to elite talent means showing up everywhere with a highly relevant message that they can't ignore. This is where the real art and science of our methodology comes to life. We intentionally avoid the shortcuts, like relying on tools such as LinkedIn Recruiter to ping people who've privately marked themselves as willing to consider new roles. It bears repeating that the best talent in any market is almost never actively looking for a job. And even if they are, that pool is flooded. The top performers are always in high demand and are getting bombarded. We'd argue that this isn't the right approach to doing high-stakes executive search, yet it's exactly the typical strategy most search firms default to, but won't admit. The result is, if you go with the firm that does this, you're going to get subpar outcomes, even when you're paying premium prices. Not to mention, the process is usually pretty chaotic. Instead, we've developed a proprietary algorithmic search approach that turns Google itself into our candidate database. Then we engage each target across up to 5 different channels with over a dozen personalized touches. This omnipresent outreach approach ensures that we break through the noise. But what really creates the magic is our messaging. It's been battle-tested and refined over many, many years to the point where top-tier candidates consistently tell us, "I can't believe I'm even on the phone with you right now. I never respond to recruiters, but your approach really got me." Ingredient number 4 is our unique approach to matchmaking, which is a process that we call long-form story weaving. The best people in any market won't stop to consider a new opportunity, let alone engage, unless the story that we tell them is highly relevant, deeply persuasive, and more aligned with their career vision than what they already have today. Winning a candidate's trust, getting them to open up about their career wounds, and selling them on a better future working with you, that's both an art and a science. And it's often best facilitated by a trusted third party who can sell your story with more credibility than you or your team can on your own. Matching top talent with high-risk startups is incredibly difficult. In our experience, 95% of any target talent pool will initially say they're not interested in anything pre-Series C unless it's truly exceptional. And therein lies the crux of the challenge. We overcome this by investing the time to gather 5 times more intelligence from our clients during our onboarding process so we can stitch and weave together a narrative that speaks directly to the needs and desires of each of our target candidates. Once we've hooked them, often after hours of thoughtful, soul-searching conversations, we reverse that process. And then we gather 5 times more insight from the candidate and begin stitching and weaving together that narrative to present back to you. And here's where it gets powerful. We ask each candidate to write a narrative pitch in their own words, describing exactly how everything they've done so far in their career has prepared them to come work for you. This is a cross-referenced, tailored write-up that aligns directly with the key criteria we defined together with you during the creation of the search blueprint and scorecard process. The result? Your first conversation won't feel like an introduction. There's already momentum on both sides, so it feels like a true continuation, dramatically accelerating the path to a confident mutual decision. And remember, most of these candidates weren't even willing to look at a new role just a week or two earlier. That's the power of this process that we run. It might sound kind of wild, and it would be if we hadn't spent over a decade building the systems and the rigor to make it repeatable, but for us, this is just the norm. It's how we protect your time, avoid costly mishires, and deliver a candidate slate of genuinely excited people for you to choose from in a matter of days versus weeks or months. And finally, we have ingredient number 5, which is rapid iteration and master controls. Speed without thoughtful pivots or a well-orchestrated end-to-end process quickly leads to chaos. Our system flexes without breaking, and thanks to our customized software platform and communication structure, we give all stakeholders full visibility into what's happening in real time, keeping everybody informed and aligned at every step. In addition to creating incredibly tight feedback loops, we bake an audit trail into every decision of the search so that at any time we can reverse course, pivot quickly to get you the results that you need. There are dozens of moments in a search where if key intel isn't surfaced and shared at just the right time, or if meeting structure or timing is even slightly off, the process can quickly go off the rails, wasting hundreds of hours or worse, causing you to lose your top candidates due to a simple oversight by a less detail-oriented talent partner. This includes everything from early scorecard alignment to weekly written summaries and live discussions for slate tuning, interview feedback, and offer strategy. Even down to the most basic yet often overlooked details, such as planning out each important milestone in advance, sequencing candidates properly, and ensuring every stakeholder knows their role and has time pre-blocked so your winning candidate doesn't slip through your fingers at the 11th hour. We're known for being incredibly quick to solve our clients' executive hiring challenges, but we don't sacrifice structure or skip details. We've trimmed the fluff, focused on what proactive work actually moves the needle and lightens the load for our clients, which allows us to shave weeks or even months off the typical executive search timeline. If you'd like to pause the video, you'll see this slide outlines each step of our typical executive search workflow, including who's responsible and general timing guidance noted at the top of each of the columns. Here's a snapshot of a Chief Product Officer search that we're working on right now. This is one of our end-of-week email updates. I just sent it out last Friday, actually. And we send this out to all stakeholders on the search committee that goes out in addition to our live discussions during our weekly status calls. These end-of-week updates always have 3 sections that keep everybody informed and on the same page, which is where we're at with the search, targets for next week, and the state of the search, plus any questions or requests that we have for the group to ensure we're at max production the following week. As you can see, the search has been live for 32 days. We've finished fully market mapping this client's 780 ecosystem source companies that we've mined for candidates, which required reviewing over 10,357 profiles. We chose 109 of those people to add to our candidate staging area for my entire team to debate, which we then whittled down to 80 of the very best profiles that we then imported to our collaboration software platform for outreach and debate with our client, knowing that if we needed to, we'd have another 29 we could import later as a worst case scenario. As of today, we've now spoken to, pitched, and screened out 48 people so far out of the 80, and we presented 7 candidates, 2 of which are already in final stages, both who our client wanted to hire the second they saw each of their online profiles, and even more so after he spoke with them for the first time. And we have 2 other very strong contenders that we're slow rolling as backups. And we have 3 additional candidates written up who we all agreed to put on hold as a backup to our backups. Because no matter how tightly we control things, humans are inherently unpredictable. And when we turn a passive candidate active, which happens every time, Until we get a signed offer letter and that person actually starts the job, it's our obligation to ensure our client succeeds in filling the role. And keep in mind, we even have assurances that if for any reason the person they hired doesn't work out, we'll replace them at no additional charge, which has only ever happened once in our entire firm's history, and we plugged in one of our strongest backup candidates in less than 10 days, and that person is still crushing it for our client almost 5 years later. Here are a few snapshots from inside of our custom software platform where we collaborate with clients and provide full visibility into the candidates that we're engaging and the real-time metrics of the search. It accelerates decision-making and gives clients confidence they're getting value for their money at every stage of the process. And here's a quick look at one of our signature candidate writing samples. The essays we have passive candidates write as part of our long-form story weaving process I mentioned earlier. Just days or weeks earlier, these individuals had no intention of switching jobs, yet here they are, being persuaded to invest hours to prepare and compellingly pitch themselves as the perfect fit for the role. And finally, here's a LinkedIn job announcement from one of our recently placed COOs who, without any prompting from us, sent us a series of photos and messages thanking us for helping him land what he called an incredible opportunity. This particular search actually turned into a double hire because a president was brought on as well, which occasionally happens when the strength of the slate exceeds our client's expectations. Speaking of which, if you or anyone in your network needs help hiring, I'd like to introduce you to a new invite-only offer called the Easy Button. We've fully re-engineered executive search from the ground up, integrating modern tooling, smart automation, and a fresh approach to deal structure, all designed to match the speed, budget, and realities of early and growth stage teams. This model is guaranteed to deliver clients with 2 or more candidates chosen off our slate who'll be advanced to at least stage 3 of their internal interview loop within 30 days, or they won't pay us a penny. These candidates will show up to their first interview pre-qualified, pre-educated, and pitching our clients on why they're the right person to hire. We enable our clients and their teams to stay focused on unlocking that $100 million revenue scale while we handle 90% of the heavy lifting and having them fully engage only in the critical 10% of the search process that really matters most. Based on our historical averages, clients only need to interview 3 to 4 people off our candidate slate to make the placement. And while we've finished executive searches in as little as 9 days, it's safe to plan on it taking roughly 45 days from kickoff to getting a signed offer letter, which is still 2.7 times faster than the industry average for executive level search. Lastly, we consistently see clients advance roughly 80% of candidates that they choose off our slate to the second round of their interview loop, demonstrating just how well our candidates match what they're looking for. And the best part, we know trust has to be earned. And to prove our model works for select new clients, we're willing to front load the work on their first search and defer our engagement fee until interviews begin with their top picks from our initial candidate slate. Plus, every invoice that we send is always tied to pre-agreed upon performance milestones. For the record, engaging with Bearhug won't feel like a high-pressure sales pitch. Our focus is on leading meaningful, strategy-driven conversations with founders and their investment teams who understand the stakes of early leadership hires and want to align more effectively on both the capabilities and cultural fit required to unlock that $100 million revenue scale. Founders and their backers are already thinking about replacing or adding key executives. We just help make that process frictionless. If you or someone in your network is serious about speed, precision, and hitting stretch goals, let's talk about how we can help make that easier. To kick things off, we can swap notes on what we're both seeing out in the market. Then I'll walk you through exactly how the Easy Button Master Services Agreement works in practice, and I'll share our frameworks, tools, and referral systems, all very useful, whether we end up collaborating and working together or not. Go ahead and use the link provided to book a call, shoot us an email, or pick up the phone, and let's explore what's possible. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.